development. So my presentation is not about, let's say, very technical things as usually the material you got in class, but I would like to share about the general view of archival institution, which is specifically there is National Archive. It's called ANRI, Arsip Nasional Republik Indonesia, is the main subject in my presentation. But yeah, I hope hopefully the material can provide you something good for your additional knowledge. Okay, I would like to share, but I'm sure because mostly the software we use to interaction in online is Zoom, as you know. Uh, so I really a little bit forget about the feature in Google Meet. So forgive me if there will be some mistake for the presentation. Okay, I think hopefully it's my PowerPoint has already seen by you all of you.
Yes,
Or
doctor, we
oh,
can see.
okay, good, thank you. Because I cannot check whether you see or not. Okay, this is my presentation. Archives development in Indonesia. As you can see that the end the brackets there is family. So I'm not really fully doctoral right now, but hopefully as soon as possible I will achieve it. Okay, this is the something I pick the quote from Audrey Azoulay that state archives are essential for collective memory of humanity and preparing for the future. So, as you all may already know, that the importance of archive is related to the how people, how society construct their memory as all together, and then the memory itself become a material that we can learn from it for the preparation for us to face the future. So that is the main point of the archive. I also pick several statements from UNESCO. That's archive are places of discovery that can spark the imagination and enable us to travel across time. This is the statements like for me it's like really intriguing for me to imagine travel across time is which is literally we cannot do the time travel, but in terms of the imagination we can do it. And with the digitization of physical materials, even across space, we can uh, further to gain the benefit from the archives. They are the raw material from which untold stories, knowledge, and new insight are reconstructed and transmitted. As such, archive contain the potential to reveal, often in unexpected ways, who we are and how we are acted, and to help us shape a better and more informed present and future. Of course, so the importance of our archive is, we sometimes or mostly we cannot expect it, but that the archive we manage has certain value to us as a society or even as an individual. So there's a certain range of value from the archives. As testimonies of our action as nation, societies, organizations, and individuals, archives play a fundamental role in ensuring accountability, transparency, justice, and access to information. So I also referring to uh, ICA. Archives are the documentary byproduct of human activity retained for their long-term value. The records created in the course of everyday lives and action of individuals and organizations offer direct insight into past events. Like people, archives are diverse. This is one I would like to highlight. So the archives is really diverse. They come in a variety of formats, including text, photograph, and so on and so forth. Archives are held by individual and institution, both public and private, around the world, with the building housing them of often setting name archives with the S, I think. And then I came to the main point of or the beginning of my point related to the development archive in Indonesia. So as you may also already know about the Indonesia as a nation, as a state, we have been through about several, I mean, a long time in the development of the state, beginning to with the period of occupation of Dutch. Uh, it's called in this period. There are certain points, certain time that the time is in 1892. It's the institution of archive has began to exist in that period by the Dutch government. So officially, archive National Archive Indonesia today is starting from this point. But if we referring to the existing of archive itself, I think it's more further than these years related to the dynamics of kingdoms in Indonesia. Are at the time it's still called Nusantara. There is a lot of kingdom who also, I think, they produce some kind of archive. If we use the term we use today, but and the past time probably it's usually used called kitab or something like that. For instance, there are kitab called Negara Kertagama in the period of Majapahit Kingdom. It's about the rules or the law about the nation at the time. Or I mean the kingdom of Majapahit. But to just make it brief, I present this starting point in the Dutch colonialism. So National Archive of Indonesia, of Republic Indonesia, starting from this era. And then in 1942 to 1945, Indonesia has also been occupied by Japanese nation. In this time, the Land Archive as a national archive at that time become Kobuns Jokan. This is a Japanese term. But I have information that in this period of time, more or less 3 years period of time, Indonesia not really much produce archival material because the government of Japanese at that time is not really, engage the local people or Indonesian people to, to do something in the governmental material. So in this period of time, it's really, really small or less archive that have been, managed by Indonesian. And then after the Japanese, gone from Indonesia, there are the Indonesian developed or changed the name of Konbun Sejukan to the State Archive or Arsip Negeri at that time in the period of 1945 to 1947. This means that, as you may also well know about the Indonesian Independence Day in 17 August in 1945. So the State Archive is developed in that period after the independence. The Archive International Indonesia was jurisdically started after the proclamation of independence on August 17, 1945. And then this not stop here. There is still, dynamism in political dynamic in Indonesia because in the time between 1947 to 1949, the Netherlands or the Dutch come to Indonesia again with the so-called it's named military aggression. So they would like to occupy Indonesian as they already have in the past time. So in this period, the name of Arsip Negeri back to the Lands Archive as the Dutch government ruled the Indonesian. And then there are times after there are some kind of agreement. It's called Round Table Conference Agreement on December 27, 1947. 1949. There are agreement that the government of the Netherlands transfer the sovereignty to the government of Republic Indonesia. So, for simply speaking, Indonesia gained their independence. They gained their state again, 2 times. And then lastly, in 1947 to until now, the Archival Nasional in Indonesia is called Arsip Nasional Republik Indonesia from that time period. Actually, this period is Indonesia. Andri has some kind of dynamism. The name is changed several times, but essentially, in the end, the name of National Archive of Indonesia is Arsip Nasional Indonesia. So for the short material, I just put this time period. Actually, there are much more, historical event in the period of time. So, what is the ANRI, or the National Archive of Republic of Indonesia? The National Archive of the Republic of Indonesia is non-ministerial government, so there's kind of government institution who has or their own authority or their own decision to do something about related to the archive. Based on in the latest one is the law of 43 2009. In order to carry out government duties in the field of archive in accordance with provision of the applicable laws and regulation. So I think to make him more visualize about what is ANRI, I have already provided this video. Hopefully this video will play good, and then you can also hear the sound. Let's see if it's happened or not. Sometimes the connection is not really good, so hopefully.
Sejarah perumusan Pancasila merupakan bagian penting dari sejarah perjuangan bangsa Indonesia dalam meraih kemerdekaan. Perjalanan sejarah tersebut terekam dalam arsip yang pada akhirnya menjadi memori kolektif dan jati diri bangsa. Arsip ini disimpan dan dilestarikan oleh Arsip Nasional Republik Indonesia atau ANRI. Berbeda dengan arsip lainnya yang disimpan di Depot Arsip Statis ANRI, arsip sejarah perumusan Pancasila tentu memiliki nilai historis yang sangat tinggi, sehingga ANRI menyimpannya di ruang khusus yang memiliki tingkat keamanan yang berlapis, serta akses yang lebih ketat. Ruang khusus hanya boleh dibuka oleh petugas yang berwenang dengan izin khusus dari Kepala Arsip Nasional. Berbeda dengan arsip statis yang ditempatkan dalam rak, dalam ruang khusus ini, arsip dimasukkan dalam vault atau lemari besi untuk keamanan yang lebih baik. Untuk menjamin keamanan, ruangan ini diawasi dengan CCTV yang beroperasi 24 jam. Selain itu, suhu dan kelembaban selalu terjaga, sesuai dengan standar suhu depot arsip. Ruang khusus ini menggunakan sarana pemadam non-air berupa gas suppression system yang akan memadamkan seketika tanpa perlu menyemprotkan air yang beresiko merusak arsip, dan juga alat pemadam api ringan atau APAR. Arsip yang tersimpan dalam ruangan ini diperlakukan dengan penuh kehati-hatian. Arsip perumusan Pancasila terdiri atas beberapa provenance atau pencipta, antara lain Abdul Karim Pringgodikdo dan Muhammad Kemi. Secara kronologis, arsip perumusan Pancasila dimulai dari pembukaan sidang BPUPK. Kemudian, arsip pidato para tokoh BPUPK, termasuk pidato Soekarno pada 1 Juni 1945 yang berisi usulan 5 prinsip dasar negara yang diberi nama Pancasila. Selain arsip perumusan Pancasila, ruang khusus ini juga menyimpan arsip penting dalam sejarah perjalanan bangsa, seperti Perjanjian Giyanti. Arsip pengakuan kedaulatan pemerintah RI oleh Belanda tahun 1949. Dan arsip penting yang menjadi tonggak kemerdekaan, yaitu naskah proklamasi yang ditulis oleh Soekarno. Sesuai dengan prosedur, akses fisik terhadap arsip di ruang khusus bersifat terbatas, dengan izin yang dikeluarkan oleh pejabat berwenang. Namun, masyarakat umum dapat mengakses arsip hasil digitalisasinya secara terbuka. Hasil digitasi disimpan dalam bentuk digital, dalam server worm, dan di-backup dalam Data Recovery Center. Arsip Nasional Republik Indonesia sebagai penyelenggara kearsipan nasional menjamin keselamatan dan keamanan serta melestarikan arsip, yang pada akhirnya akan menjamin keselamatan aset nasional dalam berbagai bidang, sebagai identitas dan jati diri bangsa.
Okay, the video is just a little bit feature of Archive Nasional of Republik Indonesia or ANRI. The content of the video is highlighted about the very, very important archive for Indonesia. This, as you may also see that in the beginning there, the drawing of bird is called Garuda Pancasila. Is the sketch of in the first time the Garuda Pancasila created, and also there are the text of proclamation which is read by Soekarno in the Independence Day. So yeah, that's the kind of material that really engaged by ANRI to do their function. So in this presentation, I also present about there are a lot of laws and regulation regarding to archival management in the Republic of Indonesia. Of course, we can see undang-undang or laws of archive or kearsipan nomor 43 tahun 2009 and so forth. This is just example because the regulation or also the laws is really, a lot of material that provide by ANRI in their website, I think. So anybody who like to manage the archive in Indonesia have the reference material, a lot of reference material to what to do or what not to do, and so forth and so forth. So I think the ANRI is really useful for the management of archive in Indonesia in any implementation, any context. And this is the official website. So I would like to, the rest I just present the material that managed by ANRI. By the material, I mean that there are several websites you can access, and then you can learn about the archival management in Indonesia. But besides just looking at the screen capture, I would like also to share with you the real website. I think I have provided here. Hopefully you can also see what I see. Can you see the website of ANRI? Everybody? Yes.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So this is, if you would like to know more about ANRI, you can access this URL. I also put in the presentation. If you can also have my presentation from Professor Ahmadi, you can just click and the link. So I would like to show you about this content of the archive or ANRI website. There's a lot of material here. This regulation, as I said earlier, you can see the material that Indonesian people can refer to regarding to the management of archive. So we can see this, and then this is just an example, and so forth and so forth. In the latest, you know, laws, and then this that is all, and then also, yeah, I don't know the term is the same with Malaysia or not, but in Indonesia, the archive is classified by a dynamic archive and static archive. For the dynamic archive, Indonesian has built or has developed some application for the management of dynamic archive. We have Sri Kandi. I think this is the latest application that has been built by Andri in 2020, I think. Because previously there are also application. It's called Sistem Informasi Kearsipan Dinamis (SIKD). Yeah, I think that's the name. But regarding to the development of technology and so forth and so forth, and also the program of the government in every institution who would like to integrate the data or the information. So several institutions, including Andri, make a commitment to build some application together. In this context, the application related to the archive, dynamic archive in every information government institution. So this is actually new for me also. I have no idea in detail about this, but yeah, I would like to share with you that this application used for for the integration of data amongst the government institution. So Sri Kandi, I hope you also see my view. Also, I open the presentation back. Sri Kandi is an application developed by National Archive of Republik Indonesia as a new breakthrough in managing dynamic archives. Sri Kandi is an abbreviation of Sistem Informasi Kearsipan Dinamis Terintegrasi. Not really much government institution in Indonesia in a whole area of Indonesia already use this. So the timing we just have adaptation time to the new system, but I think this will be really positive contribution for the management of archival in Indonesia in the whole area. I mean in the whole government institution, including I think also the archive in university archive. Also, I have to back again to this, and then as you can also look at this material. Sorry, the connection is not really. Is updated on to June. This data came from several institutions, especially the government institution in Indonesia, and then also each of government in the certain area can be traced how much archive there have been recorded in the system, and then total we can also hear in total. So I just for your information that we have this kind of application to manage the dynamic archive. And then also there's also application we in Indonesia, or I actually managed by Andri. There is application called namely Jaringan Informasi Kearsipan Nasional. So or JIKN or JIKN in Malay or in bahasa Indonesia. JIKN is a national information network system and means of providing dynamic and static archive information services with the aim of realizing dynamic and static archive services as a collective memory of the Indonesian nation in complete, fast, accurate, easy, and cheap way to present transparency, accountability of government to the public. So here the website of JIKN, and also here look here the network of archival information network. It's mean that this application we can monitor which part of in Indonesia has been joined with the network. Usually it should be comes some kind of notes here, but I don't know right now. It's not really come up. I think because related to the information. Oh yeah, the rest you can also try yourself to to see the features of the JIKN in something like this. So if we move to detail the number here, and then you can see these two nodes here, and then this you can see the description of each node. This is a Badan Nasional Penanggulangan Terorisme. So this note is indicating that this institution has been joined the network, and then we can trace the information further about what kind of archive they held and so forth and so forth. Even I think it should be contact information of their contact, but I don't know. This like this. So this is JIKN, also managed by Andri. And this is also really, for me, it's really intriguing to dive with the archive that has been digitized by Archive, National Archive Indonesia. There is, it's called, the program is DASA, Digital Archive System, but in the presentation of the website, it's called Sejarah Nusantara. So I can show you the website here. So the domain Sejarah Nation Nusantara Andri.id. It's indicated that this content managed by Andri. So this Sejarah Nusantara, you can browsing or searching the content regarding to the archive of in the past time, ultimately in the period of Dutch government, or there also, as many you already know about VOC, uh, some kind of uh, you know business in that time is related to the business, the company from Dutch to deal with our people to buy something in Indonesia and so forth. But eventually the scene is shift to from the business thing to to the occupation. So this the source of Sejarah Nusantara Andrigo ID has a lot of material. As you can, for instance, this I would like to share this point. Harta Karun, Harta Karun. So this is the description said that the Harta Karun document collection is a growing body of transcribed and translated manuscript, vital for our understanding of the early modern history of Indonesian archipelago and the ASEAN-European encounters. Historians and archivists are working together at ANDRI to make available a selection of documents from Digitas series and so forth and so forth. So you can browse the material the in the website. For instance, the category is the Malay and Indonesian word. So you can see the material and its description from each material and so forth and so forth. Yeah, the rest you can try for yourself. Okay, and then next, I think I still more have. This is the one thing that I have already shown for. Okay, the last thing I think is this lesser. Oh no, this several. The Archive of Indonesia also contributed to the program of UNESCO. It's called Memory of the World, and then you know specifically the archive itself in this context, it's called as documentary heritage, which is you can see the website. In this website, you can browse several documentary heritage that has been registered for the level in the level of national, regional, or well, for instance, I just click this documentary heritage that's been registered in national level. There's a lot of manuscript also, yeah. This kind of documentary heritage. You can click each of these. So this is the description. It is of the material that I have chosen, and then yeah, some of the content maybe you can download it, some is not, or anything else. But this website show us for Indonesian people that the ANDRI as a archival institution of Indonesia or national institution of Indonesia has an important role in our, you know, the nation development. because we can learn from this archive about our past, and so we can, gain or reach our better life, something like that. And then next after this, okay, and an interesting point that I can see about Andri, they also really serious managing their social media, because some of, government institution utilize the social media, for instance Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, not really, maintain the content is stuck in the certain point, almost, I think, for instance, 2 years ago, stuck in 2 years ago, and then there are no update information. But in the case of National Archive or ANRI, I see different thing. They are really professional managing their content. So in this context, sorry, there are a lot of noise in my back because I am in the middle of the campus, in the center of my campus. So as you can see, there are a lot of material they publish or share in this their social media in Instagram. So the content of digitized material is not really, stuck in their server, and then they do nothing to, to disseminate the content to the public. But by using or utilize this social media, for example, such as Instagram, the Andri really, share their material, their content, at least the information about it, if not really, completed information. The same thing goes to, the other information through the Twitter. They also, share a lot of material here. Then Indonesian people can, really get useful and important information about their archive. Lastly, but not least, they also, YouTube channel of the Andri, so you can, you can learn about our development of archive in these sources. So I think I have enough to question. Let me check question. The slide is, yeah, yeah. I think is this finished from this point. So I have to stop share. Hopefully, it will intrigue the discussion. So before we have discussion, as I mentioned earlier, that in this presentation um, te- uh, I'm not really dive into the technical thing, because if I present technical thing, it will take a long time to discuss or to present. Hopefully you can understand. Thank you, Prof. Asmadi. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. A very nice, informative presentation from you, Doctor. So we have gained a lots of information about, especially on the UNRI, yeah.
Yeah.
As That's why I just told the students in Malaysia we call arsip is the arcade. In Malaysia, we call it as an arcade. All right. In Indonesia, is the arsip. So, thank you, Doctor. Very nice presentation. So lots of information
My
we
pleasure.
gather from your lecture. All right. So now, anak-anak semua, we open for a Q&A questions. So you can ask Dr. Kusnanda if you can also use a chat box here,
Yeah.
or you can ask verbally directly to Dr. Kusnanda.
Yes, please.
Any one of you?
You can imagine we just make a relaxed conversation, not just like a class or seminar. Just relax. Okay,
Okay,
please.
ada soalan? Silakan.
Or you cannot understand at all about my presentation. Just please.
All right. Okay. Okay, there is one question, Doctor. All right.
Yes.
Is there any private archive in Indonesia?
Okay. Thank
Maybe it is about, okay, in Malaysia there is also the personal archive
Okay.
owned by the individual.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. I think this is from Siti Aisyah.
Siti Aisyah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your nice question. Of course, I think in all nations there, in the context of archive management, also, um, you know, considering the archive belongs to the personal level. What I would like to say that my presentation is related to the general archival management rules by or run by government institution. But in fact, in our country, also in your country, I think, there are also the private archive, whether it's in the personal level or also the business. I think the business company you also there has also their own archive. But in regarding to the private archive, I think, for instance, uh, actually I live in Sumedang. I mean, the campus of Unpad is Sumedang. I know several, you know, tokoh tokoh budaya in Sumedang. I have already, visiting him in his house. I look a lot of material that in the conceptually it can be called as an archive, but in terms of the how they manage this archive, they archive is something else, because several person maybe know about how really manage, or at least they create their own management to handle the archive. But yeah, also some people really don't know about how to manage that archive. So I have also found that certain person, his archive is not really, uh, in terms of findability is not really good, because if I sir, can you show me about see, I have to remember the dialogue. Let's say the he has wrote some kind of poet in Sundanese, and then I really like to know what kind of poet his poem his has already wrote, and then suddenly can wait a minute, I think I forgot about the materials, and so I have to dive into the, the bunch of archive and so forth and so forth. So in short, I answered that there are also private archive in Indonesia, in several region, But the fact, in the fact, to a case, still a lot of people don't know how to manage it. As it is, part of our duty. I mean, because I from, as you also, from the program study of library and information science. So this material, this problem is become our, moral responsibility to educate people to able to manage their archive. I think that's my answer. Hopefully, satisfies with my answer. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Doctor. Okay.
Okay,
Any questions?
please. I also, intrigued about with your country. Is the person also in your country, who has the archive, also the same thing with in Indonesia, but they don't have any knowledge about it, or you know they are also well educated about it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Okay. Another question, Doctor. How
Mhm.
long do Indonesia Archive keep the material at the archive before disposition?
Okay, so this could be, yeah. I mean, I can show you the regulation from Andri, but I think it's too much effort. I will answer in the general context. So it's not, maybe you have also learned about this, how um, archive should be managed, how it should be, how long it should be kept, or how it can be, throw or disposal, and so forth and so forth. It's related to the status of the archive itself. So in Indonesia, I think it's the same thing. There are also, some category is vital archive, which means it's really, yeah, there are no limitation about it. So for instance, yeah, so as your personal material, I really like to make an analogy with in the individual level. We have uh, a vital archives. For instance, the certificate of birth. As long as you live, yeah, you cannot throw it. You have to preserve, yeah, as far as you live. But also, how probably your family will keep it in more long time. So for the short answer, I think, as you may or know, this not relate to the differences of how long Indonesia will keep, how long Malaysia will keep. No, but it's related to the material itself, the archive itself. If it's falls into the category of vital archive, of course. But if you ask, okay, how about the other category? The other category is active, active archive. Yeah, active archive, yeah, cannot be thrown or disposal, as long as it is really still used by the organization. Uh, uh, After the active in our term is fall into the category of inactive. So inactive is the period, the utilization of the archive is not really, frequently, but still, yeah, consider as useful for the running of the business. For instance, I think I can show you the example in context of academic archive. I think. For instance, we have, such as in Indonesia we call KRS, Kartu Rencana Studi. What would you say, or what term you use? The KRS, Kartu Rencana Studi is the contract of course in one semester, something like that. Well, hopefully you understand my intention. It is still active as long as you in that semester. But regarding to the production of archive, if really the volume is become bigger and bigger, and then in one semester the status can be changed to inactive, but we don't throw it, but we keep in the separate let's say space or something. So if we continue this conversation, so after inactive, there is a decision. In Indonesia, it's called jadwal retensi arsip. So the schedule of when to retain, to keep the archive. Or for this material, or I mean for the material of my example, let's say the Kartu Rencana Studi is can be destroyed after, let's say, 5 years after you graduate, because in case you need something to to manage some material of administration and so forth related to your previous study and so forth and so forth. So the institution make a decision when it is this kind of archive can be disposal or should be retained. So I think in all country, I mean in all institution, they have own consideration about it, but the rules or the regulation produced by ANRI can be treated as a reference, but for the application, as far as I know, there are also certain consideration that can be developed by its institution. For instance, back to the case that I raised previously. I mean about Kartu Rencana Studi or study contract. Previously, I said it can be disposal, but it to certain consideration, maybe in terms of the appearance of the document or archive, there's certain unique. For instance, the layout or the decorative ornament of this kind of archive. So the institution can make decision. This should be changed to be a status archive. It's mean it's retained. It keep for a long time because it has for instance. Beside the historic value, but maybe it's contain the art value. So this kind of discussion is I would like to to make up your mind about the archive is not just just robotic material, keep this and then throw it and so forth. No, we have to be very, very careful as an archivist to to make a consideration. This is another value we can get from this archive or not, and so forth and so forth. I think that's my answer. Hopefully, it's not too late to catch.
Yeah. Okay. Doctor, from your explanation, I found that there are about 95% a
Mm.
similarity
Yeah.
between what you have been practiced in Indonesia
Mm.
compared with Malaysia.
Okay,
For
good.
example, in Malaysia, we also have the schedule, a
Mm.
so-called jadual pelupusan records. All right.
Okay. Love
Okay,
Wilson.
so basically there are three types of record in Malaysia. The first
Mm.
one we call as a record active, and
Mm.
then the active record, and then a semi-active record, and the other one is a non-active record. But anyway, the non-active record
Mm.
has two version. The first
Mm.
version is have a value, and the
Mm.
second version has no value.
Yeah.
I think that is quite similar with what we have
Mm.
explained just now,
Yeah.
Doctor. Right?
Yes. Good.
Okay,
Good.
now we
Nice.
go to the next question. Okay.
Yes.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Kusnanda. In Malaysia, we have OFA. Okay, OFA is an
Mm.
online finding
Mm.
aids where
Mm.
the society can view the selected archival material via online.
Yeah.
All right. What about Indonesia? Okay. So far,
Okay.
Dr. Kusnanda have mentioned about there is a IG, right? The
Yeah. Yeah.
Instagram. All
Yeah.
right. So, OFA is one of the website
Mm.
uh, structured by the National Archives of Malaysia.
Yes.
The society can search can key
Yeah.
in what are
Yeah.
the documents that they want to see, so
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can get a pictorial,
Yeah.
okay, the picture of a certain event and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what about the Indonesia?
Yes. Thank you for your nice question. So I think the same thing goes to the system. I think, yeah. Because if we discuss this from the perspective of information system management, it should be has a feature of how to access the content of information system. Yeah, we can name it variatively. Yeah. You say alpha or something like this. But if you notice what I have already present previously, I opened the website such as, for instance, the Sejarah Nusantara. There is a lot of material there, and then we as a user or a society in Indonesia can browse it or even search it. Yeah, almost the portal or the website that I have already shown you, there has a certain feature about as you mentioned. But yeah, I think the term probably different, but the function is also the same. I think that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, maybe it's the last one.
Yes.
Okay, a question from Nabila. I have one question. What are the most types of archival
Mm.
material stored in ANRI? I see the question is about maybe a printed material
Hmm.
or maybe a non-printed. So
Yeah.
non-printed is there are various kinds of non-printed, right, Doctor?
Yes.
Maps, plan, or whatsoever. So uh, maybe Nabila want to ask you the most kind or the most types of
Mm.
materials in
Yes.
ANRI.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Nabila. I think the most, of course, because the as far as I know, Henry keep a lot of material from the past time related to the colonialism of Dutch and so forth. So the type of material is of course printed, such as a book or something or letters and something. But also, as far as I know, or Ari also manage some kind of real film, real film, because Dutch government at that time really good in documenting of their occupation country. So Andri keep also a lot of material from the Dutch era related to the the scene of certain place. Maybe you can browse in YouTube of Andri or yeah, just YouTube lah. You can see the Indonesian or Batavia or Jakarta in the uh, Dutch period or something like that. We can see a lot of material that has been digitized from the the real film there. I don't know, you have also same experience with our generation, Prof. Ahmadi, yeah? Because Asmadi, because yeah, my generation, my time of with Pak Dr. Asmadi have the experience about to see the real film in the movie in the theater, but in this time, yeah, all about digitized form. So I don't know, you can relate why my explanation, but to back to the answer. Of course the matter is papers and something, but also the Andri also keep a lot of material with the film, the material, real film. Hopefully, you will understand.
Inshallah. Okay. All right. So thank you, Doctor, for your very detailed answer.
Thank
Okay.
you. My pleasure.
Students, anak-anak semua, okay. Ada lagi? Semua faham ya? Semua faham? Kalau semua faham, okay, say good.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, there's many good. Okay, thumbs up. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I think Dr. Kusnandar, Alhamdulillah, we are to the end of this program. So we are very honored to have a very, very beneficial input from your experience, Doctor. So we hope that you will join us again for the next semester in the same course.
Amin. Amin. Thank you.
All right. So we are very happy. We are very happy today. This is a good exposure to all the students about the especially on the Indonesian archive. So far they have learned about a Malaysian archive. So as for today, inshallah they can compare what the developments of archive in Indonesia and as well as the archive in Malaysia. So we must to all the students, we must to admit that I believe that all the informations regarding what Dr. Kusnanda mentioned to us just now about Malay, all right? So sometimes we share the history, all right?
Yes.
We are from the Alam Melayu Nusantara, so I think that a lot of material in Indonesia can be shared. It's quite similar with what happened in Malaysia. All right. Now you mentioned about Majapahit, about the Sriwijaya, right? That are the example of a government that also come to Malaysia. All right. So I think we share a lot of things in the Nusantara. All right. Okay. So before we end the session, Doctor, I would like to have a screenshot.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Please, all of you, okay, open the camera. Saya akan screenshot. Alright. Okay, so okay, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay. Never mind. Okay. Sekejap ya. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Alright. Okay. So that's all, Doctor. Thank you for your time. We are very honored. We are very happy.
Yes.
Okay. So, para pelajar semua ucapkan terima kasih kepada Dr. Kusnandar. Open your mic.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih, doktor.
Terima kasih, doktor.
Thank you, doktor.
Thank you, doktor.
Thank you, doktor.
Terima kasih. Bye.
Okey, baik-baik. Alhamdulillah. Okey, doktor.
Yes.
Okey, kita jumpa lagi, doktor.
Siap, Prof. Thank
Okey,
you
jumpa
for
lagi.
thank you. Yes.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalamualaikum, doktor. Baik.
Izin live ya, Pak.
Ya, ya. Okey.
Ya, terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Ya. Assalamualaikum.